What's going on, New Canoe Nation? Welcome back for another installment of the Unlimited Show. Glad to have you folks here this evening. Do us a favor, go down in that lower left-hand corner, smash that share button, drop in the comments where you're tuning in from, what boat you're floating out of. We don't care if it's not a new canoe, even though it should be. But we got an epic guest tonight. We had to do a little bit of schedule change. We had Stuart Venable on the docket for this evening. He's stuck on baby duty, so he'll be back next week. So this week we got Mr. Jimmy Skinnard in the house, live from Alabama. Greenbow, Alabama.
Oh my God, here we go. I didn't get enough of that last weekend.
How you doing, brother, man?
Dude, I'm still recovering. I don't think I've ever been so sore from laughing.
Yeah.
It just all kind of set in, man. My face hurt, my chest hurts, my stomach hurt. My wife was like, "Did you do anything?" I was like, "No, not really. We just laughed a lot." The work was limited, and the fun was all over the place.
That is very true, man. So for those of you guys and gals tuning in tonight that don't know, myself and Jimmy are part of the Paddle and Fin podcast. We had a big event down on Dale Hollow Lake, so there was quite a few of us there. We gave away 3 new canoes over this past weekend,
And
which was
everybody
pretty cool
that got
to
them
see.
was super stoked too.
Yeah, everybody's looking forward to holding on to them. I'm looking for a photo to pull up right now of those. Here's one here. Let me get this to share up. But super cool. Bam. There we go. There's Chris Anderson with his new Flint. And then we also had Adam Reiser and Glenn Bonasek from Illinois taking home Frontier 10s and Frontier 12s. So welcome to the New Canoe family. That's something I wanted to start. If you guys are new to New Canoe, post a photo with your new boat, hashtag NU2family, new to family. And we'll share those up every week. So if you know somebody that just got a new canoe or something like that, have them tag us in some of their social media posts. I'll find those photos and we'll share those up, as these shows progress on. But let's get to Jimmy. Jimmy's from Alabama. He's part of the team down there under the direction of Mike Schmitz, correct?
Yep, Central Region. I'm actually, even though I live in Alabama, I'm in the Tennessee's region. Mike pulled some strings because he didn't want me going to the Southeast guys. So appreciate it, Mike.
Nice.
I remember when he brought me on, he's like, "So great news," or he said, "Good news and bad news. Good news is, we want you to be a part of the program. Bad news is, I can't put you in the Southeast region." And I was like, "Well, dang, that sucks." He was like, "But I'm gonna put you in my region, so it works." So people ask me all the time, "Well, how are you in our region? You don't live up here." It's just because I'm special. That's why.
I like it. So give the good folks a little background on you, man. Like, how'd you get into fishing and kayak fishing, and how you got into a new canoe, man?
Well, I started fishing real late. I didn't grow up with like a lot of people did in the industry. Probably didn't really start until like high school.
Okay.
Grew up on the river kind of with my buddy and his family, John boat fishing, broken John boat fishing, just whatever we could get to float across the river. Did that for 4 or 5 years. Then all of our stuff, we used to keep all of our stuff down at his river house, and a guy broke in and took everything we had. And I just kind of was like, okay, we'll call it quits there. And then fast forward probably 10 or 12 years, moved up to North Alabama and, married my wife, and her brother-in-law was like, "Hey, let's go kayak fishing." And I was like, or my brother-in-law, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay, I don't know nothing about that. So he put me in a little Ascend A10, pushed off the bank, 3 casts in. I caught, what I didn't think was like a good, like kayak fish. I was like, oh, it's 18 inches. And then I don't know, I caught a few more fish that day, and I've been hooked ever since. And then, my first, what I call like pro quality boat would have been a feel free. As my first sit on top. And then shortly after that, they released the Flint. And as soon as I saw the Flint, I knew I wanted one. I was learning quickly that I like fishing skinnier water most of the time versus main lake stuff. And that boat really fit the bill a lot more than the Lure 11.5 did. So I got my hands, I think it was about a year after it released, I got my hands on one of like the original, I want to say it was probably one of the demo boats that they used in the studio and stuff.
Okay.
And I beat the mess out of that thing and still got what I paid for it back out of it. It's still, I actually saw it for sale last weekend. Like it's still rocking. It's
still alive.
Yeah, man. It looks just like it did when I had it. It's got the, I put the high-low seat from the Pursuit in it when I sold it.
Okay.
So that's like old school stuff for you new canoe people. And, got put on the team. Actually, we should be like right at a year, maybe a little over a year. Ran into Mike Schmitz. I was working with Hook One when I was on the Hook One team. Was working at one of the fishing expos last year, like right before COVID started, and was just helping them sell boats and push boats like crazy. And me and him talked a bunch, and then he contacted me after the show, got me on the team, and been with him ever since, man. It's been a fun ride. Definitely the best team that I've been on.
Heck yeah. And you also got a Frontier 12 as well, correct?
I do. I've got a 2020 Flint. I've got one of the 21 Frontiers with the pivot drive and the new canoe EPS system.
Yeah. Yeah, Jimmy's one of the guys that I know, like, there's only a few of us that I know of that are running the EPS system. And that seems to be working out pretty good for you.
Yeah, I'm not somebody that likes a lot in front of me. And sure. I was sold on the bow mount. And I finally like put my hands on one. I didn't even get in it. And I just saw one sitting at Hook One and was just like, man, I don't like that. Because it's like I do low loop casts and weird pitches and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that thing's just going to get it. Like I can't even stand my net in front of me most of the time.
Sure.
And I just, we've carried the EPS system for a while and I didn't see anybody using it. And it just, like I'd been using the pivot drive and I noticed that with the pivot drive, the propulsion being on the rear, the steering is so much tighter and it's very, very responsive. Yeah. Like I was very, very good at maneuvering and manipulating the boat in and out of position. And I was like, well, the EPS mount's basically the same way. I can do the same thing. So I got that and I love it. I mean, the Frontier 12 isn't like fast by, I mean, I don't even know what standards would be for fast, honestly. Like most of the time when you hear people talking about fast, they're throwing big torpedoes on stuff. And I mean, it's just going to force it to go fast. But I mean, it's a 4 mile an hour boat fully loaded, which I think's plenty.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it too, like everybody's always concerned about speed and things like that. But I think with that motor mounted in the rear, man, it actually gets that boat scooting a little better than if the propulsion was in the front, so to speak.
The way I was told and the way I've always looked at it is, it's you're pushing weight versus pulling it. Pulling's always going to be slower.
Sure.
And, I run a 45 pound, I think it's called the Endura. It's a variable speed system. So instead of 3-speed reverse, 5-speed drive, it's variable. The way I explain it to people looking at it is it's like a speaker knob. Like you can completely dial in the speed. There's no setting.
Yeah.
And, I've even used it in fast moving rivers. I did that in La Crosse on a little river up there off the Mississippi. And I was able to basically use it like spot lock, move in, hold position, move out, move up, just by barely dialing the knob and working the steering. But it's been good. It's got the magnetic breakaway too, so I've smacked sunken trees at full speed, and the motor just stands up, sprays you, gets you wet, then goes right back in the water.
Did you fall in? No, hit a log.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, man. I run. I don't have the official EPS system, but I'm running a 50-pound thrust in the back of my boat, and I've been doing that for a while, and I love it, man. Like I'm not one to anchor. Yeah, there will be that occasional time when you're fighting the wind and you want to stay on one spot, but I think, like you said, you can kind of manipulate those motors to kind of keep you pointed in the wind or in a current and kind of keep you on spot or on track for what you're trying to fish, for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, like definitely it's not perfect, but pinning the situation, like if it's moving water and no wind, I can hold exactly where I need to. Um, the wind makes it a little tricky because you got to correct the steering here and there. Which, that being said, the Frontier 12 for sure, with that system on it, it'll hold pretty straight. It tracks so well. It takes a decent amount of wind to get that thing kind of in that situation when I'm kind of using it to hold. It takes a decent amount of wind to really throw it off, but even then, it doesn't take much to correct it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I wish I'd got to give it a shot in the unlimited. You brought that down with you, and I got to give it a little test run with your setup, and I was definitely impressed with the, like, for anybody that's on the fence about the unlimited. I can speak. I've been in a Frontier for like a year and a half, I think. It's been a minute, and been in a Pursuit and Flints and all that. That unlimited's way more stable than the Frontier 12, 100%.
You
And
think it's more stable?
I would bet every dollar I have on that. Like, I used yours for maybe 10 minutes. Something I noticed is, like, in the Frontier, when you stand and you shift weight, it kind of goes past the start of your rocker and then sets back up, and then you're sturdy. What I
Right.
noticed on the unlimited, when I put my foot down, it locks in. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's there. I was running the motor standing up with your
Yeah.
little,
I wish I had video of that.
that was, for anybody that hasn't seen, because he doesn't show anybody, he's waiting for his steering components to come in, but it doesn't hold my man's back. He steers it with rope on each side of the motor. And I jumped in it, and he makes it look flawless. He does it with his hands down, a little piece of rope in between his legs. And I'm doing this all over the marina, coming in and out. But no, I mean,
Oh,
that boat cuts through the water good. It's super, super stable. And like, you have your battery and the motor and your crate and everything was in the back. And like, you do that in the Frontier and you can tell, it sits just like crazy.
sure.
And then you could barely tell you had too much weight in the back. And then you moved your crate to the front just to see what it did. And I mean, that boat just sat perfect in the water. So it's definitely a cool platform.
Yeah, I definitely played with it this weekend, just to kind of find that happy balance, so to speak. And I think what I'm going to do is move my battery up to the front with the pod, and that should definitely balance out weight and stuff. Because with it weighed down, I think I was getting like 3.8, 3.9 with a 50-pound thrust
And
motor in the
wind. We had
back.
tons of wind.
That's true too. But then when I moved the crate to the front, which most people know I don't pack light, I moved that crate up.
Understatement of a year.
I put the crate up front, and that pushed it up to like 4.1, 4.2. So gained a little bit out of it for sure. But there was a point in the day where, we were back in some flooded timber, and I was pitching to a bed, and I stood up, turned around, and I just flip into it, and finally caught that fish. But it was amazing, the stability and just being able to turn around and stand like that.
Oh, yeah. No, I was back there with you. I was, 20 yards or so from you, and you were standing and flipping a bedfish. And I mean, we were still getting, I don't know if you were a little further than I was. I was still had the wind at my back, even that far up in the forest.
Yeah,
It was still pushing you around. And I mean, you stood up, you were up for like 20 minutes because you worked that fish for a while.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and it was something I meant to mention to you, that was I noticed like while you were standing sideways for the most part, and that boat wasn't canted over.
Yeah,
And
wasn't rocking. Yeah.
you're a giant guy compared to me, so
Did you just call me fat?
yeah, in a nice sweet way. Hey, at least I didn't call you Shrek. So.
We got Mike Schmitz in the chat. He's asking, is my battery SLA or lithium? It's lithium. I run a 100 amp hour BNO power lithium.
And it weighs 26 pounds, I think.
Is it 26? I thought it was 23.
Maybe 23. It's 20
right
and it's not, 60 like an SLA. So
Christopher Russell in the chat watching on YouTube says, I want to add a cooler to stand on as well. And I thought about that too when I was standing there working that fish. It was, I was like, man, if I had a cooler to stand on, because back in there, man, there was a ton of little fish, little bucks, making beds. And I think that would have definitely helped, seeing some of those.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was standing in the seat just to see because the clarity was great. The wind would get the ripple going and you'd lose sight. So I kept trying to get a higher vantage point looking down. And I fish in my seat a lot more than I'd like to admit, because there's a solid, like, God must just not want me to fall out of that boat, because you've got pictures of me on Del Hollow standing on the front of the boat. I sight fish standing in the seat of the Flint and the Frontier. I mean, they're all super stable boats, but stability's, part of it's the boat, and then part of it's the folks that are in the boat,
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever fished the ocean?
I haven't. Kayak? I have not. I like to surf fish because I keep my drink on while I'm doing it. But
we got Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor in the chat. He says, I'm going to be mostly offshore fishing in my unlimited. Curious as how it would handle wide open ocean.
I could go ahead and tell you it'll drain.
Yeah. That's one thing I will say, right? Like the little bit of water that was coming up through my one scupper hole, like, drained immediately. And I think that's one thing they definitely crushed on the unlimited, was the draining capabilities of any water in that deck.
That's one thing that I've always liked about the Flint is, like, even on like the rough, fast moving water, the deck stays dry. Water will come in and then it's gone. There's no pooling. I don't ever have it like under my crate or in my tackle bags, or it's gone like super quick.
Unless you spear a wave going through the Whitewater Park, but we won't go there.
Hadn't done that yet. It's on the list though.
Garrett Pate in the chat. Guys, tough tournaments past weekend. Good to meet some of the other team guys. Absolutely, man. Garrett and some of the Georgia guys came up this past weekend at Del Hollow, so it was good to hang out with some of those boys.
Oh yeah, I'd have much rather been like pre-fishing and stuff with those guys than just swinging for the fence like we all did on Sunday.
Yeah. I had breakfast before I went out.
Yeah, that's what Jay said when he caught up with us, or when y'all caught up with me. I was wondering where y'all were, and he was like, "Oh, we went and had breakfast."
Tournament started like an hour and a half earlier, but we won't go there.
It's all right.
But what else do you do, man? Like, I know, obviously, talk about your podcast segment, man.
Yeah, so like you said, I do paddle and fin. Me and Dan Perry, we do the Reel Down every Monday night live, which is great. I've enjoyed it. Like, if I lost everything that I do in the fishing industry right now, like all the teams and stuff, doing the podcast with these guys would be the one thing that I wanted to stay doing, because all the cool people, we get to talk to, all the information, you just, you got to be a sponge, man. You take in, I've learned so much from so many different people that, like, as much as it's cool to have all the information, I can't even use it all because there's just so much of it. But yeah, check us out if you never have, if tournaments are your thing, or even if they're not. It's just like listening to like the Noob Show or the Final Cast or something like that. You're going to pick up information you can use from these guys. They're normally not too tight-lipped about it. You can go back and check out some of our episodes with people like Jody and Russ and Adam. And, once the tournament's done, they're free to talk about it for the most part. They obviously, they're not going to tell you where to go, but they they're like, this is how I do it. This is what I do. This is my subtle difference. So yeah, that's probably my favorite thing I do. And then other than that, I'm married. I've got a little girl, and I'm on my own electrical business, so I work. Not lately, I don't work a lot because the whole reason I went into business for myself was to I wanted to be able to.
Uh-oh. I don't know if we lost Jimmy there.
You got me now?
Yeah, sorry, man. You froze up for a minute.
No, it's cool, man. I've got one of those adapters to hardwire my new computer, and I hate it because it just does that randomly. You have to unplug it and plug it back in.
Yeah, right.
But no, I like, I've never considered myself I would live a long time. I just, like not a lot of people in my family live, 60 years or more. So, last year I didn't really like how things were going at work. Didn't like a lot of the business decisions that were being made, and I didn't like I haven't done anything with my life as far as like I'm a wandering spirit. I want to travel,
Sure.
and I got a taste of it last year going to La Crosse. First time I ever driven across the country, and I mean the fishing was terrible for me, but it was because I didn't I took my wife with me, and I wanted to take her out and us enjoy being across the country. And I didn't pre-fish, so the tournament went terrible. I didn't care. It was just like a hell of an experience. And then left there and drove all the way to the coast. Went to the beach, and that kind of like really fired me up. And we had taken a brief hiatus from work when COVID started, and in that 3 or 4 weeks that we were off, I made like 4 times the money that I would have made working for my boss. So in September, I was like, man, I can do this. So I took a leave of absence from work because I had to help with the online schooling with my daughter and stuff. And then I was able to stay busy during that and make it happen and do that during the day with her. And I just decided not to go back. I wanted to just, keep the bills paid, try to keep a little extra savings money in the account, but, do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And for me and the wife, man, that's travel. And then it kind of stunk so far this year because she got a new job and now she can't travel this year, which just changed because now she's taking a different job, bringing her back close to home, and then it puts her back on her old schedule. So now she's going to get to travel with me and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to get back to that. But from what Mike said, yes.
Not working and fishing all day gets your internet cut off.
Not when your wife is a hardworking lady. Thank you, honey.
We got Tosh Away on YouTube says he just got a Suzuki 2.5 for his Frontier 12. Seems to work better with a second person sitting in the front. That's one thing I haven't tried.
The gas motor?
I haven't tried an outboard on the back.
I brought Mike Smitz's Honda to Del Hollow in October, and we had so much fun doing other stuff. We never put it on the boat, and I have hated myself for that since then. Because, I mean, it's not going to be anything fast, but it's just going to be, like, cool.
Yeah, right.
I want to make a whole lot of noise, smoke behind me, and just cruising in my little plastic boat.
That'd be cool. Robbie Johnson asking, how is the quality compared to Old Town in Bonafide?
Oh, I can answer this question completely honest. Okay, quality as far as longevity, they're all great boats. Like, I have never worn a hole in one of my new canoes. My first new canoe or second new canoe was a Pursuit that I got secondhand from the roughest fishing person I know, period. That man just throws his boats off rock faces down into the water. He would drag it down the pavement. He's drug them down railroad tracks. Like, this man has no fear of dragging his boat. I got it and ran it for a year and a half after that, and that boat is still being used today, and it's a 2015 Pursuit.
Nice.
So longevity, unless you're just, for lack of better terms, like stupid and like
dragging it down the road while
behind
you're
your truck,
driving.
or like
Yeah.
prying over something, or you don't know how to properly load or strap one. I mean, sure, stuff happens, but I'm rough on everything, man, and I haven't messed one of them up yet. Um, in the old towns and bona fides, like Old Town, if you don't know them outside of kayaks, Old Town's one of the oldest canoe companies in the world, I think. And bona fides, I mean, I don't like a bona fide, but like Adam Reiser, I know Adam Reiser had one forever and wore through the hole, plastic welded it, and wore through it again, plastic welded it, and he
Yep.
just now got rid of it. Like they all last. It's just your preference to what you want out of a boat is what I would look into.
Yeah, it's like what I always say, man. There's no such thing as a perfect boat, but there is such a thing as a perfect boat for a perfect situation. You know,
Correct.
they all have their pros and cons, and things like that. Um, Tyler Bean's asking, how about stability of them compared to the Bonafide? I
That's
I can answer that one because I used to run an SS 127 back in the day, and compared to the new Unlimited, I think stability wise, they're pretty much the same. But if you're going to paddle one over the other, I'd paddle the new canoe over the Bonafide. The Bonafide's like paddling a barge.
yeah. It and I talk about stability all the time because that's the one thing people ask most of the time.
Yep, yep, yep,
They ask how's it stable, not how does it paddle.
yep.
Stability is a lot with the person too. I can there's pictures of me standing on the front of a Jackson Kilroy. I can stand in and on just about any kayak. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
But I have good balance. Some people can look at a boat and fall right out of it.
Yeah, we know somebody like that.
Yeah.
Jeff Hepp.
At least he didn't. It was like he didn't fall out. It's like he chose to leave instead of like flip and lose your stuff, which he wouldn't have flipped. But the guy
Right.
we're talking about, we found out afterwards that he was borrowing the Unlimited. We didn't know that he had never been in a sit on top kayak before.
Yeah.
So he was trying to get a bait, got a little off balance, and he could have probably like regained his composure and been fine. But he was so worried about losing some of Brian's gear, he just jumped out. Not the boat's fault at all. He just was like, eject, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, he even
Wasn't
told me, he's
used
like, I
to
didn't
standard.
fall, I just kind of stepped out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Like I always preach demo, demo, demo. Like go to your local dealer and demo a boat. Jimmy froze up on us again. Let me see if we can get him back here. But go to a local dealer and demo all the boats you're thinking about. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Yeah, we got you back.
I'm throwing this thing out the window.
But if you're in between a couple, I would demo a couple. But I will say that new Canoe Unlimited will paddle faster than what some guys are looking at. Not only that, don't overlook the Pursuit. Got Sam Cox in the chat says, I love my Pursuit. It paddles amazing with great balance of stability and tracking. Can't wait to get his pivot drive. I just got out of a Pursuit to get in the Unlimited, and I couldn't agree more.
I like the Unlimited for sure. It like in my opinion, like if you're wanting like a gear hog, F12 or Unlimited's the boat for sure. To me, the best boat we have is the Pursuit because of just what he said, the balance of all of the things. It motors good, it paddles great. People say, oh, it doesn't steer that well. It's 13 and a half feet long. It steers exactly the way a 13 and a half foot long boat should.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
if you know how to correctly paddle, you can whip that boat around in 2 paddle strokes. You just, if you're sitting there just picking at it, you're not getting anywhere. If take 10 minutes, watch a YouTube channel or something, how to correctly like do a J stroke or whatever they call it, and you can whip all 13 foot of that boat around in a hurry. I have a buddy that had one, and like that was his skinny water boat. Like I've seen that boat in places that it's too wide for. Like, he can't turn around, and somehow he manages to get it spun around. It's a killer boat for sure.
Absolutely, man. Mike Schmitz in the chat says pursuit equals speed. I couldn't agree more with that, man. It is a fast little boat.
That's one thing I'll honestly admit. When we heard there was a new boat, I was really, really hoping that it was an 11.5 or 12.5 foot Pursuit, like the Pursuit Compact. Like,
yeah.
I was bummed. I mean, this new boat's awesome, but I was like, man, I will have that boat so fast if that's what it like. They don't have to change anything. Just cut a foot off of it. I'm in.
Right. Matt Gibson in the chat says Unlimited is really solid in a river too. He's highly impressed. I mean, it's fairly easy to impress that kid, but just saying. No, I know he's been paddling his local river out of his, and he's been bragging about how well it performs in the river for him.
And next time I catch up with you, like actually my wife just texted me and said I can go to Tippecanoe, so I'm coming. So I want to try paddling it there because there's gonna be some current there. I want to see how it does.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'll have it there for you. Yeah. But let's get back to the Flint, because you've spent a lot of time in it. I've spent quite a bit of time in it too, in the small creeks and rivers around here, man.
Without your flip flops.
And we won't talk about that. But that's a thing too. Like, people are like, I feel like that boat's too small for me. And I kind of laugh and I chuckle because I'm 6'4", like 250 pounds, man. And I've stood in that boat. Granted, it's not as stable as a Frontier 12 or my Unlimited or Pursuit, but that thing is super fast too. And for a little grab and go boat, what's your thoughts on that as well? Because, no offense, but, you're a bigger dude as well, Yeah,
no, again, as far as like people saying they're too big for it, it's all depending on what you're comfortable in. It's like 50-50 with people I put in them. They either love it or hate it. And a lot of it is they don't give it time to get comfortable in. But for me, so that's actually my preferred sight fishing boat. Obviously it's my skinny water, slack water, boat, because it's, like you said, throw and go. I don't like to, but I can pick it up over my head and, walk it through the woods if I need to, or drag it. But I do like when I know I'm going to certain areas bed fishing, that's the boat I want to take because it's so easy to maneuver. You can get in tight wherever you need to, very quiet. And then for me, I can stand right up in it and, do what I need to do. I've stood on the front of that boat and in the seat as well. You can stand sideways on it. I turn all the way around in it all the time. Like my first Flint, I had the 360 seat in. I haven't seen another person do that. I've seen pictures online, but around here, I've never seen anybody do that. One of my first pictures I ever posted with two new canoe for Wave, where I was ever on the team. I was out on a main lake point, anchored up with a stakeout pole, sitting sideways in a 360 seat, leaned back like I was in a rocker chair, dangling my feet off the side of it, just enjoying the hell out of myself, and it was great. That boat really will do it all. It's fairly fast paddling. I wish I could tell you how fast. Usually when I'm in the paddling situations in that boat, I rarely run electronics on it, and there's not really a reason to it. It's just typically fishing by feel and instinct when I'm in that boat because I'm in such skinny water. So outside of it telling me how warm the water is, I really don't care.
Right.
But I've motored that boat. I took the EPS system off the Frontier 12 and put it on the Flint.
Really?
Loaded that thing down. Yeah, I loaded that thing down, and I'm trying to think. I still think I got 3.5 to 3.7 out of it, and it was loaded with gear, but it did fine. And I'll tell you this: with the steering and the propulsion on the rear of that boat, that thing carves. It's so steering responsive, and I love that. I don't even, under that much power, you probably don't need that kind of response. But when you're spot maneuvering, it was awesome. Trying to think if I've done anything else crazy to that thing, man. I really live by the whole, unlimit yourself thing, our slogan with those boats too, man. I DIY a lot of stuff before I ever buy anything. and like here's a little something for guys that have the boats. Like when I had my Pursuit and my Flint, you can buy the console from New Canoe for the Flint, and there's one with a drawer for the Pursuit. Well, if you take the drawer out of the Pursuit, it'll slide right in place under the console for the Flint, like it's supposed to be there. It's not on tracks, but it stays there, so it gives you day box kind of area. You can fit all sorts of coolers and stuff in the back of the Flint. I haven't got to use. I've debated on ordering the gear pod now for the. I want to see one in person because pictures don't really do it justice. I need to see one to see if it'll help me out.
Mine showed up this weekend when I was gone.
Oh, it sucks. You should have drop shipped it to Tennessee.
Yeah, it's I totally agree, because some of the first photos of the gear pod that came out made it look super tall, and it's really not. And we had that discussion, like when you're looking at the front of the Limited, it only sticks up like 2 inches above the edge of the boat,
Which see, that's doable. Me and you talked about again. I've seen a lot of pictures of it with a wide angle lens, so it makes it it
looks goofy.
It looks like you got 6 inches of plastic sticking up in the front now, and I definitely don't want that.
Right.
I'm curious to see if you can get your battery in it. I want to see if that 100 will fit. I don't think it's going to, but I'm curious.
I might try playing with that this evening. We'll see.
If you get it in there, send me a picture, because if it works, I'm getting it.
if I get it in there, I'll post it to the New Canoe Facebook page. How about that?
Yeah.
But I'll send it to you too. But well, every unlimited guest, I ask this question. So I'm going to ask you before we wrap things up. You got a Frontier 12. It's rigged up tandem. You can go fishing with anyone, dead or alive. Who's it going to be?
Gerald Swindle.
G-Man. I like it.
There's all sorts of other names that were floating around. Bill Dance, Roland Martin, Scott Martin. But you're going to get... Scott Martin would be a close second. G-Man, you're going to laugh the whole freaking time. And he's going to want to go to Gunnersville, which is my lake. I run into him all the time out there. One of my favorite places to go. I see him there all the time, not in the same specific area, but always at that launch. And then I found out that he likes kayaks, man. He's got natives. But no, G-Man, we'd like tandem frog fishing, laughing.
All right.
That'd be awesome.
I like it, man. I like it. Very cool. Well, I'll open up the floor to you, man. Any shout outs, things like that, man? It's all you.
Yeah, well, shout out to you, obviously, for having me on, getting to do this. Pretty awesome. Like, talk about myself. It's kind of cool every now and then. Get to talk to everybody else. Right? I know, that's kind of weird. Like, I was sitting in here trying to think of questions to ask you, and I was like, wait, no. Like, it's not my turn tonight, so.
You're answering questions tonight.
Yeah, that's right. But, yeah, man, shout out to Paddle and Finn, you and the guys and gal again. That's been probably the biggest thing that happened that I enjoy in a long time, man. It's like a whole nother family. Spend a lot of time with you guys now, man. It's always laughs. Every now and then it gets a little serious, but then we all kind of make fun of each other and it's gone. So,
right.
But big shout out to my wife. I know a lot of people have a supporting wife and stuff like that, but I would highly doubt anyone's wife really, like, she pushes me to go fish. 'Cause it relaxes me and stuff like that. She hardly ever says no when it comes to like, hey, can I go fish this tournament? Hey, can I get whatever I need for this boat or whatever?
She makes an excellent turkey sandwich.
It's been nice having her. I guess Brian's gonna steal her. But no, huge shout out to her. Without her, this probably would have never happened for all sorts of other reasons. And then big shout out to everybody that, kind of backs me up and makes fishing fun and easier. Obviously New Canoe. That was the second team that I was ever part of. It's been an awesome ride the whole time. Thanks, Mike, for giving me the chance and putting up with my crap. I'll even though they're not in existence anymore, a lot of those guys will be listening. Shout out to Hook One, back in the day. They're what made this possible. Craig Dye got me on that team, and that's how I met all these fine folks at New Canoe. Shout out to Music City Outdoors for letting me direct their team this year and put all that together. That's a new experience. It's kind of a second job. I enjoy it a lot. It's cool to interact with people on that level. And then the rest of my sponsors, Bioenno Power, Dobbins Rods, Bending Branches Paddles. I'm one of their direct ambassadors. I'm sure I'm forgetting one.
The big banner behind you, bro.
Oh yeah, Gadget. Big old banner. Big old banner. It's been hard. It's not that I don't appreciate it, man. I've been they just moved. For anybody that likes Gadget product, if you've ordered anything, give them a little bit of time. They just went through a big move, and my head's been wrapped around their building because I'm doing a whole bunch of electrical work for them. So it's funny that I'm literally staring at that banner and I wasn't even thinking about it because it's like in my head that's work. But yeah, big thanks to John for putting me on that team, and that's another family, man. They're all big families. But
man.
That's about it, man.
Right on, brother. Well, thanks for filling in last minute. We were supposed to have Stuart Venable on tonight. He got stuck on babysitting duty, so he'll be on next week. Jimmy was supposed to be on next week, so he filled in this week. So thanks for the last minute change, my man. I much appreciate it.
No problem.
Tuesday nights is our new nights, boys and girls. Every Tuesday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. You can catch us here on the New Canoe Facebook page and YouTube page. So, as always, boys and girls, till next time, tight lines, smooth paddling. Peace.